Good morning. My name is Reverend Leslie. I'm one of your ministers here at New Vision Center. And today is a special day. I'm starting to think I say that a lot. Today is a special day that we have had a year of our annual theme, and every year I love our annual theme. We've had a good run of some pretty amazing annual themes, right? And this year has been the Spiritual Hero's Journey. And it was my honor at the beginning of the year to introduce this topic. And we've carried it through the whole year, this idea that each one of us is the lead character in our own Create Your Own Adventure series. Remember those novels from like the 80s? And that we each have a calling, and we enter into our calling by saying yes to that which is calling from the center of our beingness, that divine impetus that leads us forward. And all year we've been working on getting over our fears to step into the unknown, getting over any beliefs that we have had that we can't do it, letting go of any trepidation about taking on new parts of ourselves and opening ourselves up into what is possible. And here we are at the end of the cycle. It's the very last talk about the spiritual hero's journey so that we can complete our theme and open up for the holiday season. And as Jeff said this morning in our traditional staff text, there's pretty well always a staff text going on early in the morning, usually kicked off by Reverend Karen. He said, it's a little bit bittersweet. And I feel that. This has been a good theme, right? It has worked us. They say that a minister's job is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. And I have been thoroughly afflicted by this theme, yes? And it's lovely to bring it to a conclusion. So as we complete this year, we come to the top of the cycle, and it looks like this. This is our spiritual hero's journey chart that we've been using all year to kind of graph our progress. And look, we're up at the end. We made it. We answered our call. We found a mentor. We crossed into the unknown. We gained new skills. We came through the fiery tentacles of whatever the heck happened in the summer months, right? We had our revelation and our awareness. We've changed, we've grown, we've expanded. We've come back to the recognition of the gifts that we have gained. And now we've returned changed, and we're coming home. We're coming home. Home to the place where we started from. Home to that place in our own heart where we rest. The journey is over. It's not an accident how often you hear the phrase, welcome home, said in this sanctuary, said on this online campus. Because there is a settling, a resting in knowing that you are held in the beloved energy of this community. Whether it's coming home because you've returned to the normal world, having gained all of this treasure on your journey, or whether it's because you've decided that somewhere along your journey in the unusual and the unexpected is your new home. We're there now. So let's all just take a breath. We're there now. And yet, maybe you've had this experience. I've had this experience where I've had a very, very busy day, or week, or year, or decade. And we complete all the things that we're going to complete. And we lay down in bed at night, and just our body won't settle. We're just a little too much jittery in the wiggly. Can't just lay it down. Has that ever happened for anyone? Yeah, that happens to me too. And I think in my mind, in my consciousness, what's going on when I can't settle is a little bit of a, well, what now? What do I do now? And just, you go to sleep, lady, doesn't appear to be a sufficient answer. So let's talk about, we're home. What now? What do we do? What do we do with all of this awareness, all of this new energy, all of this accomplishment and creativity that we've carried through this whole year? All of this anchoring into the divine, all of this listening from within. Now that we're back in regular life, what does it all mean? And how do I find that for myself as I come home? So the first thing I think that it's important to do is let's celebrate. I think from now on I should just be able to go, and you should all clap. That's a neat trick. We got to use that. The human brain is such an interesting thing. And because of the way that our brains are designed to sort information, to tell us what's important and what's not important, so that we're not just constantly overwhelmed by data, we do this thing. And we spend our whole lives, I think, trying to stop doing this one thing, which is see everything that's wrong and see nothing that is right. Perhaps it sounds like this in your brain. Someone says, oh my God, you did this amazing thing. It was amazing. You're so amazing. And you say things like, oh, well, just that. Or, well, anybody should be able to do that. Any sane person would understand, right? Or, oh, I should have been better at that much sooner. Took me a long time to get good at that. Anything to get out of celebrating whatever we've figured out or learned or accomplished. Yeah? Oh, it's the most frustrating thing for me. One of the most frustrating things about that is we all know we do it, right? Does it stop us from doing it? No, not even a little. Wouldn't it be cool if it did? Yeah. So unfortunately, trying to not do that is just like trying to not do anything. It doesn't work. Trying to not do something is a wildly ineffective strategy. I've heard neuro-linguistic programming experts say that our brains don't hear the negative. So every time we're telling ourselves, don't do the thing, don't do the thing, don't do the thing, what's our brain hearing? Do the thing. Okay, so what do we do with that, right? If telling ourselves not to do the thing is just not going to get us very far, then we have to instead choose to actively do something different, right? If we catch ourselves doing the thing, do we beat ourselves up? But my husband in the front row goes, usually, because he lives with me and he knows that, yeah, kind of. But the ideal, we're not talking about me, honey. We're talking about the ideal. Just clarifying. Do we beat ourselves up? No. Again, we're going for the ideal here. No, we let it go, we let it go. Just like when a thought comes up in meditation, you know, I am one in the one, I am one in the one, I need to buy chicken. No, bring it back. I am one in the one, I am one in the one. Did someone put the laundry in the dryer? Bring it back, bring it back. So what are we bringing it back to? We're going to bring it back to this idea of celebration that is beyond a party. It's beyond entertainment. It's beyond the woo. I mean, I'm pro-woo. Don't get me wrong. I'm pro-woo. And there's a deeper kind of celebration. And I love that this is coming up today on the 8th day of Hanukkah because I found this wonderful quote from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who's a very well-known Jewish mystic and writer. And this is what he had to say about this idea of conscious celebration of our accomplishments. He wrote, "People of our time are losing the power of celebration. Instead of celebrating, we seek to be amused or entertained. Celebration is an active state, an act of expressing reverence or appreciation. To be entertained is a passive state. It is to receive pleasure afforded by an amusing act or spectacle. Celebration is a confrontation, a giving attention to the transcendent meaning of one's actions. Do you feel that? It's about taking the time to claim and really recognize what we've done in an accomplishment or a growing awareness. It's not just accepting a compliment, though if you're anything like me, you could probably use work on that too. It's about owning it on the inside of ourselves and allowing ourselves to make meaning about what this accomplishment actually means in our life. It's a kind of anchoring that's different. It's giving ourselves credit and then also learning to carry that gain that we've built for ourselves into the next expression of our life. And if we don't do it, what happens? It erodes. Just like a pile of dirt. You can make the most beautiful pile of dirt. I've made some beautiful piles of dirt in my day. And if you don't plant anything in it, if you don't build a retaining wall around it, if you don't do something to anchor this pile of dirt, I will come back 3 months later, and is there still a pile of dirt there? No, it naturally erodes away. If we don't build structure into our own awareness, it erodes away. I mean, how many of us have spent 30 days of meditation, right? I mean, we love to run these programs. 66 days of prayer in a row, yes. What happens on day 69? We sleep in. We have to build a structure. That's part of the reason why we run classes all the time. You know, there's a running joke that, yes, you always learn something new in classes, but a lot of it's always review, right? I'll go back to the basics if you find that you're stuck. Why? The structure of the class keeps us accountable to the process. And what does that mean for us? We continue to move forward. Do we have to have brand new information to move forward in our own consciousness? No. Isn't that awesome? It's very good news for me, who teaches those classes sometimes. That it's really not about more information. It's really not about more learning, more books, more stuff. It's about the time spent in the anchoring. And doing it together is just much more fun and motivating. So we come together as a spiritual community. We come together in classes to do it together. It's different than a party. It's about consciousness. So we celebrate. We celebrate here at the center. We celebrate with our families. We celebrate with our families of choice. We celebrate who we are and what we've become because it's of value to the planet. I so agree with Reverend Karen when she says simply coming together with this high vibration is a gift unto the world. And it's a gift to us. And it's a gift to each other. So we celebrate. And in that celebration and beyond that celebration, we take a pause. It's not a surprise that all of these December holidays, all of these autumnal and winter holidays involve a break. It's not a surprise. We need what we in the ministerial realm call liminal experience. So liminal means a threshold that you cross through that creates a time out of time and a space beyond space. It's what we're doing when we do graduation. It's what we're doing when we do a honeymoon. It's what we're doing when we do ordination or installation ceremonies. We're creating a threshold that we cross through consciously, like how I keep making a threshold that we cross through consciously. And then we pause. And we just let it be for a bit. This message is inserted somewhat unceremoniously within the 4 weeks of Advent, and Advent is inherently a pause in the world. I've heard it said that Advent was the first great pause. That is a very Christian-centric mentality. Of course, everything that we see through a Christian-centered lens probably existed in 14 religions before that, and so of course we can find a lot of examples of that too. Christians, even early Christians, did not live in a vacuum. They were coming up in a world of Jews and pagans of all denominations. And I found this interesting thing that the Julian Roman calendar, which is functionally what we live in now, was not the first Roman calendar. How not surprising. There were calendars before that calendar. And in the calendar before the Julian calendar, it was 355 days, which is a little bit of a challenge because the solar year is not 355 days, it's longer. And so every so often, every 7 or 8 years, they would have a time called the mensis intercalaris. It was a period of days in the 20-some number that was not time. I mean, people got up and ate and fed their cattle and they did stuff, right? Like they kept living, but it was a time outside of time. It was a pause. It didn't exist on the calendars. They just took a break. Imagine pausing the calendar. I mean, really, let it sit in for a minute. No, I'm sorry, I cannot come into work. There is a pause in the calendar. What am I going to do? Doesn't matter. It's pause in the calendar. Oh, there's a part of that that just feels good to this heart. There's a pause in the calendar, a time outside of time. And what this serves for us, whether it's Advent, whether it's vacation, whether it's the mensis intercalaris, is that we just breathe. It is parallel to meditation in the form of existence. We cannot always be on task. And those of us who try find out by running ourselves into walls that it's not sustainable. I mean, we hear about this, right? How often do we hear the phrase, it's not sustainable? How about we learn? What if we did? What if we just learned to live a life that is sustainable? What if we let that be the ellipses before the exclamation point at the end of this spiritual hero's journey? We go through all of this adventure and we learn and grow and strengthen and deepen and be something more. And then we take a break. Oh, it's kind of genius, right? We all know we're supposed to do this. This is not new news, right? And we all do it perfectly, right? No. Oh, we're so bad at it. How many people overschedule their holidays? Till it's not even a holiday anymore, right? Put so much into your vacation that you need a vacation to recover from your vacation. What if we actually paused? Really let ourselves pause. It's important. It sets us up for the next great beginning. Reverend Penny Masick likes to say that conscious conclusions inspire inspiring beginnings. Do we deserve an inspired next beginning? Feel into the indwelling voice that is Spirit speaking through you. Do you deserve, do you deserve an inspired next beginning when you are ready to next begin? Yeah, me too. Super clear, super clear. And so we take a break. And this is why it matters so much. Either you're welcome or I'm so sorry, depending on where you're at in this journey. But the Spiritual Hero's Journey is completing 4 New Vision Center's annual theme. It's not actually completing because it's a never-ending circle. It's a never-ending cycle. And so it actually, now it looks like this. Surprise! So we celebrate and we pause however long we need to, because you notice there's a little gap there between the end and the start. And during the pause, what you're doing is you're allowing to rise up within you the impetus of what comes next, because that's the call to adventure. But we have to take a break and let it sit all the way into the marrow of our being so that we're open and ready for the next call when it comes. You are the star of your story. You are the main character in your story. You are the one to whom all the interesting things are happening, and by whom all the interesting things are happening. And like Harry Potter, there appears to be innumerable sequels. They just keep going. There will always be another one. There will always be another one. But you get to decide which call you answer. And the quiet time of the pause invites you to open up, to find the clarity of what is coming through you now. This is how we continue to grow and to emerge. And the beautiful thing is, if there's a part of you right now that's saying, I don't know. Great. It's not your job to know. It's not even your job to figure out how. It's only your job to listen. When it comes through, you will know. And when you know, you will be ready to start the journey again. Nishan Panwar said it absolutely beautifully. He said, today is the start of a new adventure. Whatever day today is, it's always the start of a new adventure. New challenges to face, new memories to make, new obstacles to overcome. Let your soul begin to dream about what is next. It will carry you there. It always does. It always has. It always will. Hearing that call is the first step. So here is the invitation. Here is the invitation. You're home. Relax. What's next will come when it comes. Let yourself enjoy it. And so it is. So let's anchor this in prayer. How good it is to rest in the knowingness that Infinite Spirit is always right where we are. That each within the sound of my voice, each man, each woman, each non-binary individual, each person questioning, each person anchored in knowing, each person on purpose, and each person in the pause, is held infinitely lovingly by a spirit that is everywhere present and always ever giving of its love, its support, its wholeness, its truth. How good it is to know that each of us is held beautifully and perfectly by the wisdom of this oneness as it operates in and through each individually, this community and life as a whole. How beautiful it is to know that we can soften, that we can settle, that we can rest. And in that too is God. And so I just recognize that as we unburden our hearts in this space, as we turn it over to the one Spirit that can do anything about any of it, that we celebrate ourselves and one another, that we pause and rest, and that as we start our next adventure, we celebrate one another every day, all the time. And I call it good. And so it is.